morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another episode of the All I Do Is Win podcast. I'm your host, Terrence Jones, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation that we have today. We have three phenomenal leading ladies. Listen, I've read your emails. I've heard the complaints. They're like, when are we going to do more stuff for the women? And guess what? We've responded, and we have this episode as a special episode of some phenomenal, leading, extraordinary ladies on the sofa. Let's put our hands together for y'all. One of our last episodes, we called it the men on the sofa. It didn't go over too well. I feel like ladies on the sofa didn't land well either, so we might throw that in the trash. But the only thing we will not throw in the trash is y'all.
Well, there you go.
Y'all are not going out with the trash for sure. It'll be me. But I want to go around the horn really quickly. Firstly, we have to my far left, your right, we have Pastor Dawn Winsley, chaplain of the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's put our hands together for her. Then we have Lessie Norwood of MelanAide Fitness in Turnersville, New Jersey, which is a women's wellness center and life coach.
Yes.
Let's put our hands together. And then we have Dr. Angela Crumdy. She's the owner of Grad Wellness. Let's put our hands together for you too. Yeah, absolutely. Clap for yourself.
Thank you.
So today we have a really dope conversation. I'm really looking forward to this because one of the things that we've been seeing in society in all types of culture is that Black women are winning.
Wow.
Black women are leading, but also Black women are under attack. Black women are winning, Black women are leading, Black women are also under attack. And I'll even go as far as to say that it's not even just Black women. I'll say womanhood as a whole is really in this space of almost being constrained to boundaries, but yet having to produce outcomes that aren't natural expectations. But for whatever reason, y'all have been finding a way to exceed expectations, set new marks, and it's almost as if, and I'm tugging on y'all capes, but y'all deserve this. I don't think this happens enough. But the excellence that y'all have produced continually sets a new bar that then another woman then has to come over in order to establish herself in a particular life source. And what I found is that in these different types of spaces, women who I engage, whether professionally, whether they're students, whether they're in society, they're navigating some areas of themselves well, but in some space, something is suffering because there's something when you're juggling that can't always be the priority. And we know this, right? Women, they'll start going on their academic pursuits a lot earlier. They'll know what they want freshman year. And they'll say, hey, while some of the guys are still trying to figure it out, the women, they know right away, hey, I'm going to be this in 4 years. And they go get it done, right? And then because they're in their professions, sometimes family pursuits change. So now you're in your mid-30s and maybe didn't have the time and energy because you're a leading lady in the workplace. Or maybe you've been leading in the workplace or leading in some other space, but then your wellness isn't necessarily correct physically. You haven't been able to get to the gym. You haven't been able to eat right. You haven't been able to do those things that make you look a certain way. So now there's this culture around getting surgery to look like you've done things the right way. And it's no shame, for whatever the different reasons are, but it's like there's just a normalization of doing these things. And then on another level, we know that a woman, a man, humans, nobody pushes back on this, that we are mind, body, and spirit. No one knows say, no, that's not true. Everybody agrees with this.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of protocol for the mind. As of late, I'll say since the 2000s, it's gotten a lot more destigmatized to say I have a therapist, to say I have a coach and things of that nature, right? We have a lot of protocol for fitness. You can see so many different fitness influencers. But when it comes to soul, you get kind of just, whatever feels good. There's not really a lot of stewardship of that area as a collective. So today we're going to pop that bubble. We're going to have some good, solid perspective on all three of these areas because we're going to be more powerful. We're going to be more able and more capable to thrive in all areas of life. So we're not just presenting one part of ourselves and say we're doing well here. We're going to be, my whole self is doing well. And this is what happens when a whole woman shows up. Things got to change for the better, right? Yes. So I want us to kind of start off talking about things from that mental space, right? Mindset. I think a lot of times mindsets are shaped by the environment that we're in or the environment we want to go to. The environment that we're in or the one we want to go to. What are some good mindsets or good spaces to get a mindset for a woman to win and then win again? That's for you.
Yeah, no, I can start. I think firstly, getting in that space is about identifying the people that you want to be, who are already occupying that space, right? And I think mentors can be people that you know, people who you sit on the couch with and you chop it up with regularly, or people that you know in a virtual atmosphere, right? You don't necessarily have to have an in-person mentor. And then you do your research to figure out what spaces are they in, right? How can you get into those spaces, whether it's a volunteer or going to a conference? And then you try to figure out how you can cultivate that on a peer-to-peer level, right? Maybe you are setting up working groups with your friends, have an accountability partner, right? And people who are reinforcing that positive messaging that you want, and folks who are either working towards the same goal or something similar.
Nice. When you say that, I hear community.
Absolutely.
And finding community to really shape your wellness. We talked about this in a few episodes of the podcast, but like individualism is so big. And I don't want to speak to it for you because y'all are here. I want to hear it from you. But I feel like there's like this idea or this mentality around I got to do it by myself, for myself. How does that resonate? And where does it land? Anybody can jump in.
Yeah.
Well, I will start by saying when I always included people in my journey, I always went in the direction that they went in. But when I decided to go on my own, I was more successful. Not saying that you don't necessarily need people to, like she said, you can have people virtual, you can have people that's like you sitting on the couch. Sometimes it takes for you to be around a different crowd. And a lot of times when you're with the same people that you grew up with, they got the same expectations for you. So when you're trying to elevate, sometimes they'll keep you back. They'll make you feel like you're trying to be too good or too this, to that. So you always kind of bring yourself back down just to be in that environment. Wow. And I honestly feel like until you are genuinely ready to find yourself, you're always going to backpedal. You're always going to go back to what you was used to until you are sure that this is what I really want. Yeah. And that's what I had to go through. I had to go through losing people that took offense to me wanting to elevate in a positive way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
As you were asking the question, first of all, you forgot to say 2-time Super Bowl champion. Philadelphia Eagles.
All right.
So, right. Yeah, exactly. No, but just even as you were talking, and I thought about the ladies, the wives, I ministered to the wives, the girlfriends, the fiancés, and the baby mamas.
Come on.
And it's really the same message. It's to really focus on them individually. We talk about insecurities. We talk about identity. I found that a lot of times the ladies that are in that space, they usually get their identity through their husband or their boyfriend, versus really knowing who they are. Why are you here? What's your purpose? And so really that's my role, is to really come at a different angle. We're not talking about the guy. Half the time I don't even know who their husband is or their boyfriend, and I don't care because I'm there for them. I've been doing it for over 25 years, and and they're all the same, and as soon as they begin to know who they are, then they start working on their education, and they realize that this is just a season. You're not going to be here all, forever. And we see it all the time. You see guys getting traded or fired or retired or whatever, and so they come and they go. And I think I've been the most long-standing, female in that space, right? Because the ladies, they come and go. They might be there for 2 years, 3 years. Of course, one player who just retired, he was there for about 15 years. And so to be able to see the beginning and the end, meaning the retirement, and then really seeing the condition of the wife, and them understanding that don't be so focused on the now. Be more focused on the future, and so there's a lot of dynamics. You got mama syndrome. You got mama thinks she deserves this, and they got all their family on payroll, and and so the wife is really trying to find, where do I fit in all of this? And so that's really one of my focuses, is really building them up and helping them understand who they are, and to be able to use this as a platform, not as an identity.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And I think that model or that mindset around fitting in is really pervasive, and it really falls everywhere. Like in most spaces, if we look, weren't created with you in mind. So you're having to you're having to emerge from an unexpected expectation to then be in a space where you're seen, where you're known, where you're seen as a person of value. So how do you find who you are first? How have you been able to find that in these different areas?
I would say the first thing is, stop comparing, especially in that environment. Sometimes the comparison could be, how much my husband makes and what yours doesn't make. And, the quarterback's wife may not necessarily be friends with someone who is on the practice squad, or, like all of those dynamics. You find that if they're not careful, they'll fall into this trap of thinking that this season is something else versus it being an opportunity for them to seize the moment and then begin to, again, focus on their future and focus on, making sure that the things that they are being blessed with, that, that stuff doesn't disappear in their future.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that happen, Terrence.
Yeah.
They can be, millionaires for a couple of seasons, and then at the end of the season realize, I don't have any money left. Where is it?
Right.
Spending it, Gucci and Louis and all of those things and cars. And so, again, really finding that balance is so important.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think the thing you mentioned about focusing on the future really stands out to me. I work with students and like coaching them in graduate school and helping them to graduate and be successful beyond.
Right.
And I think for a lot of us who are like super high achieving, like we only think about ourselves as students, right? And everything is about like the life of the mind and not about who we are like generally or what we want after we graduate. And so a lot of my work is about like helping people to think about who do you want to be spiritually? How do you want to feel spiritually? And how do you want to develop your hobbies outside of your student life? And so I think it's about like taking that time to like know that you can be more than what your professors are asking of you.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, to piggyback off what both of y'all said, I feel like a lot of times when you're around the wrong crowd, you'll put yourself in an environment where you do want to compare and want to have what everybody else have. But I feel like if you genuinely you're doing it for yourself, it don't seem like a job. It'll come natural. So the passion for whatever it is that you want to accomplish wouldn't be based off what people see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could be have a bank account loaded and getting out a regular car. Or you can have like stop at Fashion Nova still, but and you'll still feel confident and walk in the room and people will see you. When you walk in the room, if your presence demand the attention, it's just a natural thing.
Yeah.
And anything that you're passionate about ain't going to become a job. Is going to actually become something that you actually are focused on, and you don't care who's in the room with you.
Yeah.
That's what you like. With the players that she was saying. A lot of women, they want to make sure their husband got this. They comparing themselves, but are you genuinely supporting that man that you done made go bankrupt?
Yeah.
things like that. You know what I mean?
I know.
Because and if you really with that person for what they passionate about, they done made it to the NFL, then you wouldn't make them stress more. You'll make it peaceful for them. And a lot of times I do see a lot of people comparing themselves to others.
So I think even with that, how can you be someone's peace if you're not in peace? I think that's a question that comes to mind. Like I think there's so many different things that are bombarding thoughts, that are shaping perspectives of what's important, that you're like a walking warfare.
Well, a lot of times people are with each other because they seen someone that look good. It's not even a genuine connection. You want a woman on your arm that look a certain kind of way instead of her being someone that you really want to be with. So a lot of times, like when you said women go get the surgeries and things of that sort, and then they get men, and these men only looking at the outside. They don't even know that woman from the inside.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? I even want to pivot there and kind of talk about just the fitness side of, because fitness can sometimes, it's one of those pursuits that can sometimes be seen from like a pretentious space. Like, why do you care about how you look so much? And I'd even go as far as to say it's often hypersexualized, where a woman, more so than a man, because I go to the gym, I work out, but I find that women have a greater duty. They have a greater duty to almost mute their progress and the presentation of their progress so that it's not hypersexualized. And when you're navigating that, being that you're in the fitness space, how did you navigate just that change to being fit to tell us about your story?
Well, me personally, I felt like the times that I did get the gym membership and it was based on my outside appearance, I was never successful. When fitness became...
Wait, say you said that kind of fast. You got to say that again for the person in the back.
When I was literally looking for the outside appearance of fitness, I never was successful. Never. You know, we go to the gym and we got this look in our mind and it's not genuine. And when you're genuinely ready to get your health right, your mental space right, fitness become your therapy. And when I finally was successful, when I wasn't bringing my homegirls with me, me and them wasn't in the mirror making videos. A lot of times people say to me, you don't post often. You don't like really post the fitness ad. Because when I go to the gym, that is my therapy time. You know, I don't got time to be setting the camera here, there, and there. When I go to the gym, that's genuinely that time for me to really get my mind right. And I was telling her, I said, it was a point in life where I sat down and I had a conversation with the Most High, and I said to myself, it either was going to be jail, hell, or the gym. And I wasn't built for jail or hell, so I made gym my priority. And when I made it my priority, when I made sure that I was doing it for me, it became a more spiritual bond for me. Going to the gym, when I had the free time, being a mother, I had 4 children, you know, and I had them very young in life. I had put everybody ahead of me, even when I was in my marriage, you know. I've been single 4 years, but in them 4 years, it wasn't about me looking good on the outside, finding the next person. I took the 4 years to find myself because I said I would never go back into the same pattern. So I wanted to make sure when I started to go out there into the world that I was healed. I was healed properly, and that's why the gym became such a priority.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we don't have a split screen, but like tell us about your transformation.
Well, I used to be 250 pounds. I suffered from depression. I went through a lot of mental ups and downs, trying to be loved in ways that I knew that if I didn't love myself, nobody was going to be able to love me properly. When I finally gave myself to God, I noticed that it was a strength in me that kind of just took over. You know, I was ready for the world. I was ready for, you know, whatever was coming my way, people that I had to lose, people I had to let go of, and to actually be prepared for my next phase. So going through a tough marriage, you know, not even knowing what narcissism was until I, you know, got closer to God. And that becoming, he's my dependency. I depend on him more than anything else. So, you know, being able to depend on God has actually hit a strength in me that I feel powerful.
Wow.
You know, even when I had those moments when the enemy is trying to battle me, I always sit back and I tell myself, like, hold up. I made it too far. I know for sure. And you don't want to be reassured by other people. You want to know that in yourself.
Yeah.
So, because the enemy is going to send people your way.
Yeah. He's
going to send obstacles your way. It's how strong you are to get through it.
Come on.
So you got to find your best friend, and that's what I did.
Hey, that was pretty weighty. Come on.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And that's what, you know, even with me training my clients, you know, they always looking for what's this diet plan, this and that, and I'll just speak life into them. How was your day today? What you going through? You don't even realize how many reps you just did, just letting it out.
Yeah.
And a lot of us black women, we hold things in. And as I was telling you, embarrassment. You don't want people to know what you went through. You don't want that judgment, because in our community, a lot of times when you got those people on a high horse, you're judged. You know, I would this. You know, never say never until you're in that situation.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And a lot of us that's saying that we never would are actually going through it. You know? And we just got a wall up. And I guarantee you, if there's a lot of women that are able to sit in one room and tell their truth, it'll set a lot of people free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's good. And even just the conversation we're having now, you know, many will see it, and I believe it's going to help someone to get to the next level.
Yeah.
Or have another perspective to consider along the way. And I like how when we talk about mindset, and just the ability to see that there's more in me than I've actually experienced, that you had to have a certain level of stick-to-itiveness. I don't know if that's a real word, but it works phonetically at least. Stick-to-itiveness, right? To go through and go beyond what feels good to create new disciplines, right?
Yes.
So anyone can hop in on this, but I'm just really curious, like, because each of you are winning. Each of you have found ways to not just be a resource to yourself, but to be a resource for others. You can only do that sustainably if you're full yourself. How do you find when you don't have the discipline? Because there's certain things, and I'll say this even as a man, right? Haagen-Dazs was my weakness. Like, it didn't matter. And it got to the point where Haagen-Dazs seemed small, but it's not small when you're eating it every night.
Well,
Right.
And it's the kind of thing where nobody knows. They could see, oh yeah, his shirts fit a little tighter, you know, or if he looked like he out of breath going up them steps, but only you know the real impact of the thing that you are not disciplined in, right? So in order for you to be to the place where each of you are doing what you're doing, you had to self-assess and say, you know what, I got to be more disciplined in one way or another. How did you transition?
I think just by being truthful about it. You know, I had ministered on Sunday, and I was just sharing about just an area where I felt like I was being challenged in. And a lot of times we can be so focused on, you know, this side of who we are. And, you know, all the scriptures, all the right things to say, all the right things to do, can even tell other people. But then, you know, sometimes there's areas in your life where, you know, we almost abdicate to the enemy, you know, for him to be able to attack us in those areas. And so for me, I would say it's my health, you know, and actually, you know, after this, I'm going to my doctor so that I can begin to work on a plan to get me where I need to be. And I think it was, you know, like you were talking about the Haagen-Dazs, you know, a lot of times we're doing things and sometimes those things feel good to you. And it's like, well, you know, ain't nothing happened so far. So let me keep going. Let me keep going. Let me keep going. And, you know, and that's when there are things that are happening or brewing, and you won't know until you begin to, you know, uncover all the things that are covering it up. And then you can really get to the root of it and see, oh my God, this isn't healthy. And so for me, I think number one, exposing it, even saying it right now, and then saying it to a very large congregation for 2 services. And so now there's that accountability. You said it, you spoke it, you acknowledged it. Right. Now let's do something about it. And so now I'm excited about that. I'm excited about what needs to be done. And now it's like I can go and now put my attention on that area and begin to get disciplined. Yeah. And I laugh at my husband because we have it all. We got the Peloton, I got the tunnel, we got the, you know, a sauna. Like we got everything right downstairs in my basement. Okay. And my excuse was, my hair's gonna freeze up. Well, I ain't got no excuse now. I can take this off. You know what I mean? So I don't have any excuses, right? You know. And at the end of the day, you know, I don't want it to be said, you had all the resources. You had everything right at your disposal, but you chose not to. And I think it goes back to our will and our ability to make good decisions and to listen to people. You know, because you should have people in your camp that should be helping to, you know, have some eyes on different areas of your life. And you've given them the right to speak to. So that way, you know, when they say it, you can hear it, you can receive it.
See, and I want to double down on that piece right there and the accountability, right? Yeah. Because firstly, you held yourself accountable because I don't know if y'all heard, but she said she has an appointment right after. Right after this, she's leaving here and going to the doctor. So like our time is conditional because she has an appointment, right? But in real life, a lot of us, and this isn't just one side of the coin, a lot of us just choose people around who make us feel good, who affirm whatever thoughts we have, who justify whether we want to be toxic or whether we want to live a healthy lifestyle. So how do we get out of that mindset, right? How do we challenge our circles to actually be positive accountability sources versus just somebody who's going to partner with us even toward our demise?
I feel like just let yourself elevate and go in the direction that you want to go in and see how many people stick around. Because either they're going to stick beside you to try to bring you down or they're going to disappear. Yeah. You know, and that's what I had to learn.
That's snappable.
Yeah. That's what I had to learn when I decided to leave my marriage, well, let my marriage end and all those things. A lot of people that was so-called supportive, a lot of them wanted to watch me go down, but God had other plans. Secretly. You know, when they see, everything done fell apart, ain't no point in sticking around. We already see where she at. And then a couple months later, they kept seeing me going and going and going, and then they want to check in. And you got to be strong enough to let that check-in be you operate from a good space, because, you know, we all can have our moments. But operating from a good space, but keeping that distance. You know, you gotta let people, when people show you who they are, believe them. Actions speak louder than words. They could say whatever, but when their actions showed you who they are, that's what you believe. You know.
I always say you should have 3 types of relationships. You should have a mentor that pours into you. You should have peer relationships, and then you should have people that you pour into. And I think having those 3 relationships, it keeps you balanced.
Yes, it do.
Your mentor should be telling you, hey, this is what you need to do. This is what I see. This is what you need to change. Your peers, it's like, hey, you know, we're supporting each other, you know, and people that you are pouring into, you know, you're being mindful of being a model for them.
Yes.
And I think because of that, having that around me, because you're right, Terrence, depending on your profession, especially being in the pastorate or even in the chaplaincy role, you know, you're always going to have people, oh, thank you, we love you, God bless you, you bless me, you know, and if you're not careful, you know, something can swell up your head, amen? And so you don't want that to happen, because at the end of the day, you know, what you're doing it alongside of God. So you take no credit or glory for that. But I always say, you know, I need people around me that are going to tell me the truth.
Well.
Out of respect. Tell me the truth. And I need people that can listen to the truth.
Well.
And I need people that I can kick around the truth to make sure that it's the truth. And so that's what helps.
That's really good. That's really good.
You know what I think too? You got to make sure your mentors are people that actually went through it and overcame it.
Right. Or that know more than you.
You can have people that went to school and studied it but never experienced it.
Exactly.
So they're going to teach you what they know, they think that is okay. But then when you got them people that actually went through it, got out of it, and listen, use the most positive source to get them through it, and then teach you how to do it, that's more powerful than anything.
Right.
I don't want to hear, well, you know, if you look up this, I want to hear if you look up this word and this, that. I need them people that actually like, this is how I got through it, because I went through it, so I know you can. Not somebody that just went to school, got a degree, and didn't never experienced it. You know what I mean?
It's like being a GPT culture. You know, anybody could just find an answer about anything, but where did it come from? Like, is this lived expertise? Right.
Exactly.
Or what? And I feel like even as we talk about that, we don't always have ways that we synthesize for success. So everybody wants to get successful quick strategy, right? Like if you want to be fit, all right, these 3 movements will get you rock hard abs. You know, if you want to be so successful, oh well, this particular religion will do it if you do this. Or nowadays, there's people choose all types of quick fixes, and I'll even go as far as to say people will say, all right, we're into the sage now. We're doing these different things because you just want a quick solution to do something, you know, mental wellness. Oh, let me just listen to this podcast, and not necessarily doing the work yourself, but you're watching somebody else's work and getting the crumbs of that and letting that be your life source, right? Let's identify. I'm gonna go around the horn, but in each of your areas, I want us to like give some practical application for what we're talking about, right? So you're covering wellness, you're covering fitness, you're covering soul satisfaction, right? What is one tip that you would give to someone who they're looking for accountability, or they're trying to get to the next level and they're navigating the wellness space? What is one thing that they could do?
I always tell people to find something that you enjoy, right? Like, don't try to fit into a box. If you see everybody's doing like Pilates right now, that seems to be the new thing. Or going to like Orange Theory. What do you personally enjoy? It's okay if it's weird. It's okay if nobody else wants to do it. I started salsa dancing in grad school, and like that was just my thing.
Okay, cha-cha-cha.
Yeah, that's all me. But just start with something that you enjoy, because you're more likely to continue to do it, right? Nice. Don't try to necessarily hop on a bandwagon because it's working for somebody else, because they're different than who you are.
So seeing yourself versus following a trend.
Absolutely.
That's nice.
And trends change.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah, that's good.
Well, me personally, I'll say when you start, you don't need a crowd to start. You got to make sure it's something that you want to do. And success is in the power of the tongue. So watch what you say you can and can't do. You know, we all get tired, we all get exhausted, but when it's your health on the line, and don't get it wrong, it could be somebody super skinny with health issues. I dealt with that too. And it's like, and you know, like a lot of times people say, I can't do this. You can do it. Yes. Whatever you pitch your mind to, you can do. So it's all about what you speak over yourself.
Yeah, I've used that myself. I'm not a trainer by any means, but when I work out, if I'm working out with someone and they say they can't get this rep, I can, I will, I must.
You got this. You
You
got this.
because that actually gives you the force and the power that you need. Because sometimes our bodies are really resilient, and a lot of times we'll speak ourselves from that next level.
And the one last thing is the days you don't really feel like it is the days you really should go. That's how you push yourself. That's how you strengthen yourself.
You got me, because I definitely don't feel like
The
it today.
days when you don't feel like
All right, I
it,
guess
they
I'll
the
go.
days that you go.
Prez, I guess I got to go to the gym later.
Gotta go.
Pastor Dawn, what would you have for one tip?
I would say, in the space that I'm in, I would say stop competing and stop. Well, actually, 3 C's: stop competing, stop comparing, and stop. It was another C. Competing, comparing. I don't know, but I'm gonna make another C. Being complacent.
Well,
Okay.
there you go.
But that wasn't my C. It was another one. But and I think when people aren't comparing, it causes them to stay focused. In the space that I'm in, it's very tempting for the girls to compare themselves. From all different levels, all the different soulish levels, they'll compare themselves. And then there, obviously competition is very big, but also them, did I say complaining?
Oh,
No.
that's the
another
one. There you go.
Stop complaining. So I think just really being comfortable, another C, being comfortable where you are, and knowing that you're on your own journey. And I always say, even in the church world, mind your own spiritual business.
There you go.
So mind your own C business. If you could do
There
that,
you go.
then you can focus, and then you can get to the next level.
Amen to
because
that.
I'm only worried about me. I'm only concerned about me. I'm not comparing with nobody. Anybody. I'm not, competing with anybody. I'm on my own journey, and because I'm on my own journey, now I can see me going to the next level. Because if I'm not competing, then I don't care what you say based off of where I am. Because I'm on my own journey, and being on my own journey, this thing is personal.
Come on.
No, that's really good. That's so rich.
word.
And I feel like I'm in a privileged position being able to sit here and listen to the 3 of you drop these gems, because it is lit in here. I'm not lying. You have her Prez in the back. He making noises. He over there snapping and clapping and all this other stuff. But I just really feel inspired just to see what's possible when mindsets collide. That's another C. When community is full. Hey, these C's is popping off. But I'll even speak to the women that are on the other side of this lens here. There is so much that can happen when you find your true community, but you can't find community until you first found you. This is something that we are on a journey about, regardless of your gender. You have to know why you're here and who sent you before you go and connect yourself with someone else, because you just might find out that person who I connected to, there's someone who was connected to my toxic self or my weakest self, and then you're trying to then uplift yourself from them alongside the stuff, the baggage that you were already carrying. So I loved our conversation today talking about being holistically well, because we are a whole person here, right? Our mind, our body, and our spirit. And when you win in all these areas, then you can truly say that all I do is win.
That's right.
That's it for this episode, and until next time, peace. Or y'all can throw it up.
Peace.